Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission is always, well, it's about delivering sophisticated knowledge quickly, helping you feel informed, prepared, and, frankly, much more confident.
Okay.
Now, if you're an English learner, maybe past the basics, you probably know the frustration. You've mastered the grammar, you feel like you have a good vocabulary, but you feel a bit stuck.
Right. You find yourself relying on the same handful of expressions over and over.
Exactly. And they're technically correct, but sometimes they just feel a little flat, or, well, maybe they don't quite land right in a casual conversation.
It creates a sort of gap, doesn't it? You might know what you want to communicate,
Yeah.
but maybe not the most natural, idiomatic way a native speaker might phrase it.
Right.
And our sources really point out this isn't just about learning more words. It's about fluency in, the social context.
Understanding the nuances.
Precisely. If you want to speak English better, and maybe faster too, the real key is getting comfortable with these everyday expressions that native speakers use naturally.
And that is exactly what we're unlocking today. We're taking a really detailed look at something seemingly simple, saying farewell.
Goodbyes.
Yeah, because our research shows the English language actually offers this huge spectrum of ways to say goodbye. So we're deep diving into the many ways to end a conversation, but focusing specifically on the social meaning behind the phrase you choose.
We're definitely moving beyond just bye.
Absolutely.
We're looking at this sort of social contract, what are you signaling when you choose one phrase over another? It really all boils down to context.
Context like who you're talking to.
Exactly. Who, where you are, and crucially, when you think you might see them again.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the most relaxed situations. The casual, everyday goodbyes.
Your friends, your peers.
Right. Imagine you're leaving a friend after class or grabbing coffee. The simplest forms, goodbye, or just bye. They're the foundation. Yeah.
Totally. But even among friends, we often add these little layers about future expectations.
And those expectations are often about time, aren't they?
Usually, yeah. Think about the subtle difference between saying see you later versus see you soon.
Okay. See you later feels pretty standard.
It's the default, really. It's warm, friendly, but also completely vague. It just means sometime, the future, undefined.
But see you soon.
That feels different. It tightens the time frame.
It does. It implies a bit more eagerness, maybe. Or perhaps there's already a loose plan to meet again, like in the next few days.
So if I say later and you reply soon, we've kind of negotiated that expectation without actually saying anything concrete.
Exactly. It's this implied agreement about immediacy. It's quite neat, actually.
Okay, what about when you meet someone new, like a colleague's partner or someone new joins your study group?
Ah, yes. Establishing a new connection. The farewell there often comes, interestingly, as a sort of mandatory pair.
A pair. You mean two parts?
Yeah. Our sources show this clear structure. First, you acknowledge the interaction you just had.
Looking back.
Right. And second, you set the stage for a possible future interaction.
Looking forward. Okay, makes sense. Precisely. So, you start with that backward look. It was nice meeting you. Simple, polite, establishes rapport, shows you valued the time.
Got it.
But then, crucially, you really need to follow it up immediately with something forward-looking, like see you next time, or maybe hope to see you again.
So you can't just say, nice meeting you, and leave.
You could, but it feels a bit abrupt, maybe even a little closed off. That pairing, nice meeting you, then see you next time, is key for social fluency. It signals you're open to continuing the relationship. It's just, clear social grace.
That's a great point. That move from acknowledging the past moment to signaling future intent. That feels like a step up from just basic vocabulary.
It really is, and it sets the tone nicely for our next section. We've seen how we manage time in casual goodbyes.
Like later versus soon.
Exactly. Now let's look at how we manage attention and maybe distance in more functional goodbyes.
Okay, functional, like work stuff, phone calls.
Yeah, precisely. And this is where things get interesting, because functional goodbyes, especially ending a phone call or even like a video meeting, they require this specific little maneuver that a lot of learners miss.
Oh, what's that?
You have to signal the end before you actually say goodbye.
Ah, right. You can't just hang up.
No. It's jarring. Our research really highlights this. The pre-closing signal. You need a phrase that clearly indicates your attention is shifting, that the conversation is winding down.
Like what? What kind of phrase?
Things like, okay, well, I've got to go now, or look, I need to run, or maybe I should probably let you go.
Right, those phrases that say, I'm about to end this conversation.
Exactly. And in functional communication, that phrase is almost a non-negotiable courtesy.
Because if you skip it, you risk sounding abrupt, maybe even rude, like you just pulled the plug.
Totally. You've basically just cut the connection without warning. So once that signal is given, and usually acknowledged by the other person,
Like, okay, sure.
yeah, something like that,
Okay.
then you deploy the actual functional farewells.
And these are different from the casual ones.
They often are, yeah. They're designed for efficiency, but also to confirm that the connection, the communication channel, remains open for the near future.
Okay, like,
Well, on the phone or maybe ending a text exchange, you hear, talk to you later a lot.
right, very common.
Or maybe something slightly more immediate like, bye for now.
Bye for now.
Yeah.
I like that one. It feels very temporary.
It is. Both talk to you later and bye for now are fantastic tools. They clearly state, this specific conversation is over, but our general communication isn't. It keeps things quick and easy.
Okay, that makes sense for calls and texts. What about in the workplace? Leaving the office for the day, saying bye to colleagues.
Good question. We carry that functionality into the workplace, but the context shifts things slightly. The language gets filtered through a more professional lens.
So different rules apply.
Slightly different emphasis, maybe. You might still start with a personal touch, something like, it was really great to see you today, or good chatting with you.
Acknowledging the interaction.
Exactly. But the sign-off that follows often changes. Instead of the very general, talk to you later, in a work context, you're more likely to hear, catch up with you later.
Ah, catch up. That feels different. More specific.
It is. That's a great nuance to pick up on. Catch up often implies there's specific information, data, or maybe progress on a task to be shared next time.
So it's not just a social chat. It implies an update is needed or expected.
Precisely. It signals an expectation of a future conversation that's probably, task-oriented in some way.
Interesting. And what about the final closing word in the office? Is bye.
Bye is usually fine, but often in the professional sphere, especially if it's slightly more formal or you're speaking to a manager, we anchor the farewell with a more generalized closing wish. Take care.
Take care. Yeah, that feels very safe, very neutral.
It's probably the safest, most versatile professional closer. It works face-to-face. It works at the end of a quick email. It conveys goodwill without being overly familiar. Much more standard professionally than, say, cheers or just later.
Okay, this is great. We've covered the casual hangouts and the functional sort of task-oriented goodbyes.
Friends and phones and offices.
Exactly. Now let's pivot, maybe quite sharply, towards the extremes of the spectrum.
Okay. Extremes like?
Like high formality on one end and deep emotional separation on the other. These are situations where the words you choose for farewell carry, well, a lot more weight.
Absolutely. Let's start with formality. We're talking about situations where maintaining respect, maybe showing deference to status, is really important.
Like interacting with a senior executive
Or
or closing a formal business deal.
exactly. In these cases, the phrases tend to become longer, often full sentences. They maintain a certain professional distance while ensuring politeness is crystal clear.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think of something like, it has been a pleasure, we'll speak soon.
Okay, yeah, that sounds quite formal, structured.
It is. It's polite, it sets a very clear, respectable boundary,
Uh,
and you might couple it with a very proper closing wish like, all the best, bye.
all the best.
Or you might express the future expectation more formally too. I am looking forward to seeing you soon. Notice the full, I am looking forward, not just looking forward.
Less casual.
Much less. This isn't just a friendly hope like, hope to see you soon. It's a more formal affirmation, often implying a required or scheduled future meeting. Getting this language right is pretty critical if you want to navigate those higher stakes professional communications clearly.
Okay, that's the formal end. Now let's swing completely the other way.
To the emotional end.
Yeah. The language we use when the separation involves distance or a long time. When the absence is going to be significant, maybe difficult.
Right. Here, the transactional language, the functional stuff, it just falls away completely.
And feeling comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We move way past simple courtesies into expressions that acknowledge the feeling, the emotion of the parting. And often, the phrases used here try to capture the entire relationship, not just the single interaction that's ending.
The source material gave us a great example. It's been really nice knowing you.
Oof, yeah. That one carries weight, doesn't it?
It really does. You wouldn't say that after just one meeting.
Yeah.
It's often reserved for a more definitive parting, right? like a colleague leaving the country or a good friend moving far away.
Absolutely. It acknowledges the depth, the history you've shared.
And it often prompts an equally emotional response, doesn't it?
Usually. Something like, I'm really going to miss you. Again, you wouldn't use this phrase if you were just leaving class for the day. It signals genuine, perhaps even painful, separation.
Makes sense.
But importantly, this kind of significant separation, it also brings in another element, the need for active commitment to maintain the connection despite the distance.
Ah, that's where stay in touch comes in.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But notice how it's often phrased as a directive, sometimes with a little tag, stay in touch, okay, or you'll stay in touch, right?
Not just a suggestion.
No, it feels more like a mutual obligation being established, a promise to actively keep the connection alive across the miles or the time.
And then maybe followed by something hopeful.
Often, yes. A closing like, I hope to see you soon, which in this context feels much more heartfelt than the casual see you soon we talked about earlier.
Wow. So that combination, the reflection on the shared past, the commitment to future contact, and the hope for reunion that really shows the incredible range English has just for saying goodbye.
It really does. You can go from a quick, functional, bye for now in a text, all the way to these profound statements about the value of a relationship. So much nuance.
This has been, wow, an incredibly useful deep dive. It really shows how much meaning is packed into it seems like a simple act.
Just saying goodbye.
Yeah. And when you look back at the whole spectrum we've covered today, well, you realize you, the listener, now have this amazing toolkit for pretty much any situation.
A whole library of options.
Totally. You can handle the casual flow with friends using see you later or see you soon. You know how to navigate ending a call or text with I've got to go now, followed by talk to you later or bye for now. You've got the professional setting covered with catch up with you later and the ever reliable take care.
Yeah.
And you even know how to manage the high-stakes formality with things like, it has been a pleasure, or express deep emotion with, I'm really going to miss you, and stay in touch.
It really is a comprehensive set of expressions, and I think the core message for you, the learner, is that understanding these specific scenarios, what we call the context key, really helps eliminate the guesswork.
Right, no more wondering, did I say the right thing?
Exactly. You stop feeling awkward or misunderstood because you know precisely which phrase sends the right signal, the right level of distance or formality or closeness or emotion, every single time.
That feels like real fluency.
That is how you achieve true fluency, moving beyond just knowing words to knowing how and when to use them effectively.
Okay. So we've synthesized all this knowledge for you. The information's here. It's organized by context. It's accessible.
The knowledge is gained, yes, but, and this is the crucial next step, the true mastery. Actually speaking English better and faster.
It doesn't come from just listening to us talk about it.
Exactly. It comes from using it. Don't just let this sit in your notebook or in your head. The challenge now is to actively try integrating these phrases into your actual conversations.
Make it active knowledge.
Right. Think about your next few interactions today or tomorrow. Who are you going to be talking to? What's the context? And which new phrase from today could you use instead of your default goodbye?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? What is the first new phrase you're going to try out today? Maybe swap out your usual bye for something more specific.
Give it a go.
Well, that's all for this deep dive. We really hope this helps you navigate those farewells with more confidence. Hope to catch up with you again soon.
Take care, everyone.